late in the season last year. Maybe went a little bit beyond expectation, but that's not where they're at right now. That's not. They expect to be a playoff team, plain and simple. And in the meantime, they've got that Lane Hudson contract extension, which, unlike Eichel and Connor McDavid, I wouldn't expect that this one is going to get done anytime soon. It's
Why
a bit
is
of a
that,
mess
Dregs?
there,
That
so.
should be a layup, shouldn't it? After what's gone on the last few days, isn't that contract a layup
Well,
for those guys to get him done?
I mean, what is that layup? 8 times 10, oh? Because no Dobson's 9.5, right?
Yeah.
Well, if that's what
I
he
mean,
wants on the paper, then that's what you got to put on the paper.
Yeah, I think it's been reported on well and fairly. There's a lot of emotion in that negotiation. You know, the family is heavily involved, and I think that wisely both sides have said, okay, let's just put it on hold for now, right? Cortex represents Lane Hudson, has come in with a team approach now. It's not just one agent. You know, Darren Ferris is overseeing it. Ryan Barnes is involved. There might be a meeting with Ken Hughes, the GM, Thursday in Detroit. So tomorrow in Detroit. They haven't officially made that so, but it's a bit of a spicy meatball right now as far as the overall look of this thing is. So I think they needed to calm down.
So guys, what did you make of the Oilers continuing to do some business as the reverberations of Connor McDavid's contract extension continue to be felt around the league? How did you interpret Matthias Ekholm signing up for 3 more years at $4 million, which is obviously a discount off his current cap hit of $6 million? I mean, is that a guy taking the lead of the captain, or is that, you know, a little bit of a risk for the Oilers, given the fact that he is 35 years old and, you know, tacking 3 years on is going to put him into some precarious territory with injury and age?
Well, I see it, Dave, as a direct, trickle-down effect, I'll put it, from Connor McDavid. I mean, you're right. There's obviously risk at his age, and, you know, he missed considerable time last year with injury, and you know, a lot of hard miles there. Been part of some long playoff runs, and he's deep in an NHL career. But, you know, the flip side of that is this is not a free agent class that's shaping up in 2026 as being overly strong, and in an alternate universe, if he wanted to test free agency, I think there would have been more money out there for a player like Matthias Ekholm. But he and his family love Edmonton, and I think it's a lot easier to commit to stay with the Oilers when you know McDavid's going to be there, and you kind of have a better sense, if you're in his shoes, what those next few years are going to look like for the team. So, you know, I do see this as following the lead, and probably we can call this a small hometown kind of discount from Ekholm, because, you know, I know off the ice and speaking with him a little bit that's been a place that actually reminds him, he said, of living in Sweden. I think he's really appreciated what it's been for his family and the lifestyle, and now the team, you know, has every reason to think they can keep being a competitor for the Stanley Cup, and that sort of cinches getting that deal done.
Well, I'm curious if, you know, in a different world, if McDavid told them, hey, I'm leaving after this year, would they have gone about business differently? You know, and I think that's kind of what you're driving at, Dave. Like, you know, McDavid specifically said, I like being here with the core guys. And then immediately Wellman signs, immediately Ekholm signs. In other words, is McDavid contributing to that? Does he have that kind of power?
Yeah.
Is there a LeBron James element to this where we goof on LeBron a lot? Well, he's getting this guy fired. He's getting that guy signed. He's getting that guy traded.
You mean going to Ekholm and saying, I did it, you better do it too?
No, well, I mean, or, hey, keep Ekholm because I'm staying and he's a core guy. You know, and if, like, is everyone on board with all this? Or is it, hey, we got to keep McDavid happy because he signed for 12.5? Dregs, you can start on that.
Well, maybe a little bit of everything. Do I think that, you know, Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson go to Connor McDavid and make personnel decisions, roster decisions? No. Do I think that he historically has had input and at times isn't afraid to share his opinion? Yeah, I think that all of that is true. And why wouldn't he, right? He's the best player on the planet. He's the captain of the Edmonton Oilers. But Mike Johnson made this point on Monday night on our preview show, and I think it's valid. It was way easier. Obviously, Bowman and company had been in negotiations with Jake Wallman, right? You don't announce Connor McDavid and then short time after Wallman's deal gets done. But Connor would feel good knowing that, all right, we've got Wallman done. Now we have Matthias Ekholm. These are two pieces that I'm comfortable with, that we can win with, but you're not done yet. Like, are we good with goaltending? Let's see in 20-25 games. Do we need pieces up front? Well, given the level of inexperience with certain players up front for the Edmonton Oilers, yeah, Stan Bowman has some work to do, if not this year, then in the next two, to keep McDavid happy.
CJ, we'll get you out of here with a question about the game tonight. You're down there at Scotiabank Arena. This is the first time in 11 years Brendan Shanahan is not running the whole operation. Do you anticipate it looking, sounding any different tonight in terms of opening ceremonies, in terms of how they unveil things? Game ops, because he was involved in that, like heavily involved in that. The Keith Pelly era instead of the Brendan Shanahan era. Do you think it'll be different for the fan experience and what we notice at night one?
It's a great question. Honestly, I hadn't considered that angle to things. I do think it's possible. I know from speaking with people around the Leafs that they've felt some changes behind the scenes, not just pursuant to Brendan Shanahan being gone, but with the change in ownership and Rogers, having a bigger influence and ownership stake in the team. And so I do think things are shifting a little bit, but I don't know if that's something we'll see or feel in this game. To be honest, I'm most wondering, what's the vibe going to be like in the rink? Is everyone going to be watching a baseball game on their phone? If the Jays, hopefully Vladdy hits another big home run early in the game, are people going to react to that? It might be kind of a strange home opener just because there's such a big baseball game going on at the same time. But, it's definitely the start of a new era. I can even say the little bit I've been around Leafs camp that there's been, I would say, a little more access granted to the reporters. I think that's something Keith Pelly, if you remember, talked about in May, but it seems like they're extending an olive branch. I'm not getting that on Brendan Shanahan. It wasn't his job to do those types of things, but certainly, there's big changes behind the scenes with the organization, and I think it's only a matter of time before we see some of those things manifest themselves in things that we can see or get a sense of, at least in the role I have here.
All right. Well, night 2 of the NHL. It's gonna be a blockbuster this evening, man. You got Leafs Habs, Battle of Alberta. You got Mitch Marner making his debut in Vegas tonight. It's going to be awesome. All right, boys, we'll let you get back at it. Thank you for doing this as always.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See you guys.
The Insiders, Chris Johnston, Darren Dreger joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Get in and go where adventures take you in a new 2025 Tacoma for Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland and the Maple Auto Mall. Visit mapletoyota.com.
Yeah, Keith Pelly was like, Carlton, I don't want you to come out there. I don't want you to bang the drum. I don't want the flag.
I don't know.
Totally different game ops.
You're being facetious, but Andy Frost was the voice of that rink forever until Shanahan showed up.
That's right.
And Shanahan decided he won't be in it.
Yeah.
So that was one thing.
The anthem singer, Shanny, was all over.
The anthem singer was different. What the goal song was. Shanahan was involved in all of that.
Yeah.
So someone's got to be involved in that stuff. And I don't know what Keith Pelly's going to do there. I mean, Keith's a showman, like you said, Dave. Like, Keith it's the entertainment business, and they're trying to win, and I don't expect it to be crazy different. I don't think it has to be crazy different. But
no, but Keith's talking about, more fan access. They're trying to give away tickets to the fans that don't get in the building on a regular basis. They're trying to make it more approachable. Now, that's not easy, given the Bay Street crowd and how they've jacked the prices, and people pay it, and that's the free market. But that's the spirit behind it, at least right now. That's what Keith is telling people as he goes out and sort of, to your point, carnival barks and gets people hyped.
Yeah, and when we had him on at BMO Field, he was talking about what they plan on doing in terms of access, in terms of production in the background. They hired Ryan Leslie.
Access to what, though, Hayes?
Well, tickets for one. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to give you they're not giving away the building.